First of all, I must say this, ladies and gentlemen. If while you're hunkered down, somebody's got a birthday or some sort of, they're feeling a little bit down in the dumps, and they are a big fan of rock and roll music, please dial 1-800-BRET-ME, B-R-E-E, I'm sorry, B-R-E-T-T-M-E, Bret Me, to receive a callback from Bret Michaels, who is our new guest on the phone right now on a Tuesday morning at 8:21. And Bret Michaels, lead singer, obviously, of Poison, one of the great rock stars of all time. I'm nervous, and it's a huge thing for one of our friends I'll introduce you to in a moment. But first, I just want to say, Bret Michaels, it's great to talk to you finally and to have you on the show. I guess the first question, where are you right now, hunkered down for this virus situation?
Well, good morning, Minnesota. Good morning, Twin Cities. How is everybody?
Oh, my God, so good.
I'm hunkering down here in Nashville. My daughters, Rain and Georgia Blue. Just holding down the fort, man. No N95 masks or anything like that, but I do have quite the collection of bandanas, so we found a new nice use for those.
Well, absolutely, and we appreciate you having the time and taking the time to call us this morning, and I'm glad. I was afraid maybe you're out in California, but I'm glad you're down in Nashville, so the time's not so bad. We've got just a limited amount of time with you, and we've got one of your biggest fans of all time in studio, so we're going to get a bunch of questions for you. But real quick, when people think of the 1980s and 1980s rock, they think of you. They think of Bret Michaels and Poison and that look and the music you guys made. Just out of curiosity, what do you think of when you think of 1980s rock?
Oh, man. When I think of the 80s, I think of an amazing, amazing, diverse time in music. I mean, think about this. Everyone wants to make it just an excess generation, right? An excess decade. But think about all the great music that came out of that decade. I'm talking about, whether you're talking about the GNRs, the re-emergence of Aerosmith, right? U2, Metallica, a lot of great music came out of that era. A lot of music. And I'm talking, I lean to the rock stuff too, but we had good pop music with Madonna, all the great country music that came out at that time. And I'm not going to lie, it was a pretty good party decade too, right? Nothing wrong with having a smile, Laughter is the best medicine, and we did a lot of it.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And speaking of partying and smiles, one of your biggest fans of all time, Carly Zucker's in studio. Carly, it's all you. Go right ahead.
Oh, my gosh. Hello, Bret Michaels.
Carly, good to talk to you. How are you?
I'm so great. This has been like 20 years in the making. Okay, I'm not that old.
Am I that old? Am I that old already?
I have been hoping to interview you for so many years, every single year that I was in the news media. So this is super exciting. Thank you for taking the time. Question. Just moved to Pittsburgh. We're spending a lot of time in Pittsburgh because my husband was traded there to the Penguins. You're from, or at least you kind of grew up in Butler, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you spent a ton of time there, but what was it like to grow up there? And do you have any advice about Pennsylvania?
I mean, growing up there was perfect. I loved it. I absolutely had a great childhood. I had a lot of good friends there. The people were great. I absolutely loved the food. That's what I miss the most. I love Nashville, where I'm at now, and living out in L.A., when this pandemic passes, when I go back out west. But, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, always going to be home for me. I miss it. But, it was a great time growing up there for kids. And I definitely recommend, anybody looking to raise a family out there can do it too.
You said that your daughters are quarantined with you guys right now. Are they into TikTok, and are they making you do any TikToks?
TikTok, yes. And I can't get away from that stuff. They're very into it. Georgia Blue, she's in the music school now. But she's getting into that TikTok thing because she's got some skills in the dance genre too. So, they're keeping busy on their social media. So we have a lot of fun together with that.
Okay, you obviously the ultimate rock star. Country okay. I can't tell you what your music has meant to me. But you, again, rock star, but country has made its way into your life. Has it always been a big part of your life? Because I know a lot of your newer music really draws from a country feel. And obviously you're in Nashville. So when did you kind of make that transition or add country into your rock element?
Well, I mean, ever since I was younger, when people think of me, they think of rock music. But, it wasn't about all just rock for me. As I mentioned, in the 80s, we had an unbelievable diverse music genre choices. We had, U2, Metallica, Madonna, but country music always spoke to me a little bit differently. It just felt like, it felt like home to me. It's hard to explain, but it was one of those things that just spoke to me, and I found myself, finding a lot of joy when I made country music, when I would write it with my daughter, Georgia Blue, and it's one of my favorite genres of music. I think sometimes it gets overlooked in other parts of the country, but down here in Nashville, it's one of the great, it's one of the great genres that we have, and one of the best art forms that we can ask for.
Again, believe it or not, Bret Michaels is our guest on the Power Trip Morning Show, live from Nashville. Obviously, Carly's extremely excited, but I want to make sure I mention again, if you have any kind of huge Poison fan, we're all huge Poison fans, but 1-800-BRET, MEBRETTME. You'll get a call back from Bret for a small fee. I think it's a great thing, especially for people who are huge fans. And speaking of that kind of thing, Bret, I was reading an article on your website in preparation for this interview. You were selling last year Halloween costumes of yourself. And I think that says a lot about you, about, you don't take yourself too seriously. You like rock and roll. But how do you feel about that kind of thing?
Well, here's my thing. And I say this forever. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm true to who I am. But I realized this past Halloween recently, right? I realized one of the best-selling costumes was a Bret Michaels look-alike costume. And I realized, I'm like a living, breathing monster. I'm like the Addams Family, every day, And people are like, dude, I got your costume. And I'm like, man, I look like this? But I mean, it doesn't freak me out. I'm good with it.
You look amazing.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, you've been very open. I have so many real, deep questions that I would ask you, too, but I'm we don't have that much time, so I'm trying to figure out in my head what I would actually spend this time asking you. But I guess one thing that maybe would lead to a story would be you've been very open with your battle with type 1 diabetes. Have you ever performed against doctors' wishes? Have you ever gone out there and been I'm just going to go for it. I'm a rock star. I can do this.
I try to listen to medical professionals as best I can, but try to bring joy to people's faces, whenever I, see somebody struggling, I do what I can, but, especially times like these, you got to listen to those medical professionals and take their advice and, just kind of go with the flow a little bit, try to bring joy to people, but also, listen to those who know, the authorities in charge.
Again, Bret, and you're right, Carly. I'm so sorry. I hate to cut you off, but we do have a limited amount of time with Bret, so I want to make sure we get to this as well. Now, Bret, you had a concert scheduled for here in Minnesota in June. I read that it has been rescheduled, and I guess having Bret call the show is not the only surprise we have for you today, Carly. Mr. Michaels, would you please do the honors?
I'd love to, Chris. A little birdie named Chris Hockey told me that I do have a huge fan in you, Carly Zucker. So I appreciate all my fans, but Chris told me you're like a mega super fan.
It's true.
And because I feel awful, I won't be able to come visit you all this summer to perform at Twin Cities Summer Jam. Carly, I wanted to put you on the spot, right? I've got two questions for you. When all this passes and when I do come back to perform in Minnesota, first question, will you be coming to my show?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
All right. And the second question then would be, what's your favorite song of mine?
Oh my, well, okay. So many. How about Nothing But a Good Time? Talk dirty to me. Oh, okay, we'll do Nothing But a Good Time.
Perfect.
It just makes me feel so
good. We're
good.
Open with Nothing But a Good Time when I come back, and you're coming up on stage and singing it with me.
Oh,
how does
my
that
God.
sound?
Oh my God.
What do you think of that?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
That is very cool. So there you
awesome,
go.
Carly.
There you go.
Oh, Bret Michaels, thank you so much for doing this.
You're so welcome.
Before we go, Bret, just again, from the bottom of my heart, I'm a huge fan, not as big as Carly as well, but so excited. We're glad to have you come into the show and glad to have you on this morning. Is there any last thing that you would like to say to Carly before you hang up?
I love you too.
Well, go right ahead, Bret. Go ahead and tell her.
Carly. This is promotions director Ryan Donaldson.
Look at her face.
I don't even know how to say it. I felt so bad.
Oh, man.
Ryan, you killed
She's
that.
going
Carly,
to
you
kill all of us.
Ryan, you were awesome. I can't believe how much you sounded like him.
That was a super,
I can't believe
super
it, Ryan.
good Bret Michaels
oh my God,
impression.
you killed that.
Carly is...
You even answered the diabetes question.
I had no
You were prepared. Carly is going to commit mass murder.
I'm
When
leaving.
you asked me about Pittsburgh, I got really nervous.
You
I
guys,
don't know anything
I am
about
so mad at you guys. I am so mad at you guys. I would never mess with you like this.
Oh,
my
yeah.
I would never, ever hurt your feelings like this.
It was Sauce's idea.
It was not. Yes, it was.
It was absolutely your idea.
You said you don't treat a lady like this.
This is
and you
so
said she's one of the
effing
guys.
Not funny.
I didn't do it.
I can't believe you did that, Ryan.
Ryan,
I know. I can't believe it. It was Sauce's idea 100%.
No, it was not.
Sauce and Abbott.
Yeah.
No.
I was against it 100%. I said this is her dream.
What have I
We
done?
can't do this
I
to
know.
Carly.
You guys, that's not. This is.
It's not funny. I
That's
agree.
not funny at all.
Sauce's fault.
I thought that was.
Sauce thought it was
I
a
thought
great
it was
idea.
really him too.
I was gonna go on stage with you.
You
I
were.
know.
Yep.
You're now you're going to go on stage with Ryan Donaldson at the Rue Party.
Yeah, Carly.
No,
come
Ryan,
on.
you
I
literally
thought you
are
guys
dead.
had made my dream come true. I thought you guys
We
cared
actually
about
did.
it.
We did,
actually
kind of.
because not only did we book Bret Michaels, Tommy Wiseau's also on the.
Tommy, are you there?
Oh, Carly, I feel horrible.
He didn't get it. He didn't hear
No,
it.
Tommy
Don't look at me
Wiseau.
like that.
Tommy Wiseau.
I hate all of you. There's no way to come back from this. I thought you guys cared about me.
Can we here? Let's go.
I thought
Let's
this
go.
was
Hang on.
something like we're
Let's
family.
go. Let's go. Full disclosure. We got a minute
Okay,
or two.
yeah,
Full
right,
disclosure.
fine,
Here's
fine.
exactly what happened the last
Oh
24
my
hours.
gosh, you have no idea how much this is.
About a day ago, Chris goes, I have the greatest idea. This was Chris's idea. Chris goes, I have the greatest idea. What if we tell Carly tomorrow that we have a special surprise guest? We won't tell her who it is. The last second, we'll reveal it's Bret Michaels.
Oh.
And I'm like, love it. I love it already. We'll get somebody on the air. Brian did an awesome job.
I can't believe how good you
We'll
did
get
that.
somebody
Oh,
to
good.
pretend that they're Bret Michaels. We'll get Carly just like maybe we'll get her in tears, like she's going to be so excited, she's going to be so emotional, and then we'll reveal that it's not Bret, and we'll watch her heart break. So but because we're not a-holes, we started to feel like I don't know, like is this mean? It's Carly, it's Bret Michaels, it's her dream.
It's my dream.
And Sauce brought up a really good point. Sauce goes, well, if it was anybody but Carly on this show, anybody, we wouldn't think twice.
Not even close. I know. In fact, I wrote an alternate thing last night.
And I shot it down.
And he shot it down. I was so worried.
Because Chris was starting to feel bad, too. And Chris is like, well, what if we do this? And I just texted him back and I go, to be honest, I like the first idea so much better. Because the second one, his second idea was basically not making you one of the guys. I
was going to be his bass player, and I was just going to rip Bret Michaels.
I will never trust any of you ever.
I didn't know anything about
Rosie! Oh, don't act like you're innocent, Rosie. Oh, don't act like you're innocent.
Rosie was on the text message and said, we have to do it. I want to see her.
He wanted to be Bret Michaels, and we said Donaldson's going to do it.
That's right.
Rosie said, I want to see her upset. When
I
this all
never.
ends.
I will never trust you guys again. It's like
You're one of the guys. You're on the
You're
team.
one of us.
This is proof you're on the team.
How hard
Carly,
is Jason
I
laughing
want to
right
be
now?
off the team.
I bet Jason is laughing his ass
Let's
off.
get Jason on the
he
phone.
knows how much this will hurt my inside.
Yeah, he's gonna put on the poker face and hug you when you get home and say, I felt really bad. He's laughing his ass off right now.
Absolutely.
You know what,
She's
Carl? I
heartbroken
apologize
for
because
me.
we just
No,
gave you
he-
something to believe in,
Yeah.
and now you're going to have to cry tough. But every rose has its thorn.
Paul Fenton's on line too, by the way.
Rosie!
I hope you all get severe diarrhea today. Like you can't get off the toilet.
Ryan Donaldson has diabetes. But he still performed.
It's from Pittsburgh.
And he has a hole in his heart.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I'm so sorry, Carly. But,
Ryan,
He almost backed out.
You are dead to Carly
dude.
for
Yeah,
sure.
he almost backed
oh,
out.
man.
All of us felt guilty at some point, but I just like, no, at the end of the day,
No,
this is
Rosie
too good.
didn't feel
Let's hear
guilty
it for
at all.
Ryan Donaldson. I mean,
Nicely done.
wow, dude.
I mean, Brett.
I
by the way,
can't believe it.
Carly, hang on, real
cried.
quick, real quick.
You did. I know.
Huge,
I got it on tape.
Huge red flag.
I took a
Chris, you
picture.
almost blew the whole thing
I know.
on
I
accident.
know. I'm so sorry.
And as soon as
I
you
was
said
so
it, I was
nervous.
like, uh-oh.
I was so nervous.
Brett's only one T, and Chris's phone bit was BRETTME, and I was like,
I almost
uh-oh.
corrected him.
I was like, uh-oh, if Carly catches that, we're in huge trouble. But
I was so
enamored by the
scared
moment, right?
that
Chris spelled his name with two T's, and I'm like, she's gonna red
Well,
flag,
listen.
and the whole
No,
thing's
because
gonna
I
fall
would have
apart.
just thought he misspoke. I would have just thought he
I
man.
misspoke.
literally.
I thought we were
Because
busted.
I would never think that you guys would do something like that to me. Because my emotions, when it comes to Bret Michaels, are so fragile. Like, you guys have taken years of disappointment.
I'm so sorry, Carly.
And
The
then
look on her face. Oh, my
know.
God.
I
You're going to
know.
hurt someone.
You really bought it.
I think the biggest thing was that I thought you guys were like, we love her so much. She's part of this family that we're going to do something for her.
Nope, that's why we pranked you, is because we love you that much.
Yeah, you're one of us.
Just so
You're
you
one
know,
of
We
us.
love
That's why we
you.
did. We
everyone's
love you.
getting ripped for this mean prank they pulled on you.
Yeah, 'cause
People are
it's-
very upset with
it's
everyone else
bullcrap.
in this room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because